let's go ahead and dig into it. Andrea, I know that you and I spoke, I don't even know, maybe 4 months ago, and you came referred by a friend. And I've been really impressed. It's so funny, the number of people that come up to me in just the standard walk of life, and they say, hey, I saw you on TV. And it's crazy. And the credibility, I'm not trying to steal your thunder and all that, but for me, I was so intrigued with the subject, and that's actually why I wanted you to share with the community. And we'll put this on will we be putting this on the media channel?
Yeah.
Ylopo.com media.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this will be recorded as well. But yeah, if you guys could introduce yourselves and take it away, that'd be amazing.
We'd love to. So thank you so much, Kiwi and Barry, for having us here. It's great to have this opportunity. So today we're going to talk about boosting your brand and growing your business with earned media. So earned media is press that you don't pay for. We're going to go into more details about that in a minute. But first, just a little bit about our background and who we are. I'll have Alex introduce himself first.
Yeah, I'm Alex Haight. Before coming to Media Minefield, I was a news anchor and reporter for 11 years in Wyoming, Wisconsin, and New York. So well-traveled. A lot of us former news people are.
Yep. So there's pictures of ourselves in our younger days. So my name is Andrea McMaster. And before coming to Media Minefield, I worked for a local NBC station as a morning anchor and a reporter for 11 years. So at Media Minefield, you'll find that that is key for us. We are messaging experts. We're former award-winning journalists. And I really think that there's two ways that benefits our clients. We know how to hone in on your key messages and help you stand out. And we can also put on the hat of a journalist that we are pitching every day. And we know what types of stories will resonate with journalists. For more than 8 years, we have been working to secure press for realtors across the country. And we know you're in a crowded industry, so press interviews help you stand out from your competition. And our goal really is for the realtors that we work with to be the sought after expert on the local news.
And we appreciate the introduction from Barry. We've been working with him in the Virginia Beach market. And as you've heard, he's already seen how earned media interviews have helped with him build that credibility in his market. I already see a question, is this available for Canada? Yes, we do have some availability in Canada. We can talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. Also, Kirby Schofield's another person who we've worked with. He said that the interviews have not only helped him to grow his brand awareness to the consumer. I think the next slide, Andrea.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll see Kirby Schofield out here in a minute as well. He's told us those interviews not only help him with brand awareness to the consumer, but also attract great talent to be part of the team. It's good that we're kind of aiming this at the consumer, but at the same time, if real estate agents are seeing like, oh, okay, if that guy's on TV, it automatically means that there's some extra credibility there. Maybe this is the team that I need to be joining.
So what is earned media? Well, earned media is press that you don't pay for. I think I said that at the beginning here for you, but just so that you hear that again, you earn it because of your credibility. It's real news. So in the local newscast, morning, afternoon, evening news, you are interviewed on the news because of your expertise, because you are the leading expert in your industry. And we're not paying the TV stations, the print publications, the radio stations for you to be on. You are earning that spot on the news because of your expertise. I like this quote, advertising is saying you're good, but PR is getting someone else to say you're good. This quote is from a former Apple executive, and we really believe this.
And so why earned media? So like an interview on the news, it's like an endorsement. It's that third-party stamp of approval. They could have chosen any expert in your industry for an interview, but they chose you. I don't have to tell you, how many real estate agents that there are in any given area. So that's important. You're highlighted, you're the one who's set apart, and in turn, you help build that trust, you establish that authority, you gain credibility. So we like to ask, do you stand out when you're in a crowded industry like yours? How do you stand apart from your competition?
So one way that you can stand out is to be the local media real estate expert. That looks like consistent press in your local news. And after your interview is booked, we'll provide you with questions and talking points for the interview. Really, appearance and delivery matter. This is why we coach our clients before each interview. We want your interviews to be successful. We want every interview to be a home run. And each of our real estate experts also have market exclusivity. This means that we will not work with another agent in your local market. So let's talk briefly about the different types of interviews, because this is a question that we get often. So there's the live remote interview, and obviously this became an interview that was increased in popularity due to the pandemic. Many stations now find it as a convenient option for their guests. So for this type of interview, you can be interviewed over Skype or Zoom or FaceTime or Google Meet. And this is really actually convenient for you because you can be doing that from your office or any location as long as you have a nice background for TV. There's another type of interview is that live in-studio interview. A lot of the realtors we work with love to do this. They love to come in and meet the talent at live in the station. Different set examples include couches, sitting at the anchor desk. Some of the interviews are done standing. Sometimes you're interviewed by one anchor or two anchors. Again, a lot of times the realtors we work with have fun meeting the personalities when they get to go live to the TV station.
Tape reporter interviews. These tape interviews are often done in the late morning, early afternoon, sometimes even on weekends. A reporter could set up a remote video call, like a Zoom call, or they could be meeting you in person. So if the reporter comes to your office or meets you at another location, a lot of times they'll have a photographer with them. But a lot of times too, they will come on their own. They're called MMJs or multimedia journalists, where they're lugging around the camera all on their own. These interviews are typically last minute. We may get requests that are with only an hour's notice. So we always do the best that we can to prepare you for any given situation, whether you have an hour prep time or you have 2 days or a week of prep time. You'll likely only talk with the reporter for 10 to 20 minutes, and the reporter will pull 2 or 3 sound bites for the story. And when I say sound bites, those are like basically 10 to 20 second little pieces of information that you're talking. Also, radio and podcast interviews. These are most often done by the phone. They tend to be longer and more in depth than in TV interviews. Usually the TV interviews are about 3 to 5 minutes. Radio and podcasts are usually around 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes they can be up to an hour as well. It's really all over the place there, but we try to prepare you no matter what the time is. We try to make sure that you have enough material to go through there.
And then there's the print interviews. So this could be for a newspaper, magazine, or online article. There are different ways that we collaborate on quotes for our clients. In many cases, we will take your responses by phone, and then we'll submit those quotes on your behalf. We will usually need a response within 1 to 2 hours to confirm any type of interview request. That's just because they're quickly wanting to respond and know if they can count on that for their local newscast or for their print publication. Now let's take a look at some interviews, because I think that's what you're all wanting to know, is with some of the realtors that we worked with in the local press. Interview topics range from expert industry insights, home market values, to educating how to stage their.
What we do is, of course, we want a well-kept main mulch. So whether you have existing mulch or that you can freshen up, or if you don't have a house that has a very well-maintained and good curb appeal, then I would definitely recommend edging it, putting up mulch.
So you have at least a chance to go in and check it out and make sure that you can breathe before you have to make a major purchase.
Right, because I know we've talked before about that buyer's remorse. People might be moving too quick. You want to make sure you're making the right decisions with buying a house.
What are some of the hurdles that still exist for single women trying to buy and sell homes right now?
So there's still some lingering stereotypes out there that women are expected to be nice and do what's best for everyone.
A lot of people, the elderly and stuff like that, are being priced out.
His answer is build, and build fast.
As far as the refugees, we have to be humanitarians, and our state, county, and federal governments, I believe, will do that.
What do you think are the biggest tips and advice that you would give to home buyers right now as they navigate this very complicated market, and specifically here in the Cedar Valley?
Well, first and foremost, I would think that obviously be pre-approved, and I would think that a local lender is best.
When interest rates go up to 5 to 6%, you're probably going to be looking at maybe $2,200
$2,400 a month.
According to Jenkins, the average listed home price in Hampton Roads reached a record high of $405,000 just last month.
So are you seeing more single ladies starting to purchase homes or inquire about buying homes by themselves?
Actually, we are. And quite frankly, their single women are the second largest class of home buyers, only behind married couples.
So hopefully that was fun for you to be able to see what do some and a variety of those types of interviews look like. What I have up on the screen right now is examples of print, radio, and podcast interviews. So we've had realtors featured in everything from the Wall Street Journal to Forbes, Authority Magazine, Inman, New York Times, Realtor.com. Again, every time that we're looking for a type of a feature to have a realtor on, our goal is to boost your brand and to increase the audience that you're in front of, hoping that that's going to lead to more people wanting to work with you. So we always keep that in mind when we're pursuing the types of interviews for the realtor clients that we're seeking out interviews for.
And you saw a bunch of cool interviews, examples of them a minute ago. And we like to say your interviews are assets. They tell people that you've been interviewed as the expert. And if the only time that people have a chance to view it is when it airs live in the 5 o'clock news, you've honestly missed an opportunity. So here's how you can leverage it. You can create an In the News tab on your website to show those interviews. They can live there forever. Post them on social media. You get in front of a completely different audience who may not have seen that interview on TV live, or may have not read that article online. You can also share them with your clients or potential clients through newsletters or best of reels at seminars or in your lobby. Here's an example of leveraging through social media. One of the realtors we work with, Robbie Bro, he's been, for the last year and a half dealing with the pandemic. He had never actually been inside the studio. Everything was done via Zoom. So he finally got to get in there. And he does an Instagram post. He takes a selfie with the anchor, and he had 123 likes, and the anchor commented on there, "Glad you finally got to come in." So that Facebook post had 419 likes and 50 comments by the end of it. And then we look at another interview that was done. April was Fair Housing Month. Matthew Bizzaro, he spoke with the local TV station about the passing of the Fair Housing Act in 1968 and how discrimination is still an issue today. So he put together a nice succinct write-up of what the story is about. And then the interview video there is embedded on there. So it looks really nice and clean. There's also a lot of great relevant hashtags that help amplify the post potential audience. Nearly 2,500 people saw this video. So 2 good examples of leveraging with that social media.
Yeah, so I really like to say with leveraging these interviews is once you have these interviews, these are assets to you. So you can showcase people that you were interviewed as that credible expert on TV. So don't just count on it as the eyeballs to see it when it airs on the news. Matthew is in New York City, so he did have a lot of people who actually saw that interview, but then he had an additional 2,500 people see it when he was able to put it up on his social media pages. Oh, at Media Minefield, just a little bit more background about what we do. We take a story-centric marketing approach. So we believe that your story is at the center of all of your marketing efforts. And we already talked about how stories can be used in earned media, so those press interviews. But another great place for you to share your story is through owned media. So this is the content that you own. I know many of you already know that strategic social media content that's consistent on message, that's key. So make sure that you're always doing that and have consistent posts out there in front of your key audience. Thought leadership articles and videos is another way to make sure that you're telling your story. And then through paid media, this is where obviously Ylopo comes in and helping you succeed through Google and social media ads as well. So those are all ways that you can make sure that you're standing out and helping tell your story. Here's another way to think about story-centric marketing. So I have a 10-year-old daughter who wants to be an engineer, and during COVID, and all the time that we spent at home, I spent hundreds of dollars on Legos so that I could work and that she could do something she loves and builds with her hands while she wasn't going to school. And you can imagine all the bins of Legos that I have in my basement. So all of those little pieces of Legos, that's the data. That's the elements that make up your company. That's your customers. That's your facts and figures. Think of that as a pile of information. So every business is sitting on a pile of data. But now you can sort that data. You can pull out the information and sort it by category. This is where most marketing efforts end. But the story, that last image, the story incorporates facts, figures, and gives people something to remember, something they can tell others about, something that they can walk into and be a part of that community. So if you see the first image, you can't see the people, the dogs in the pile. You can't make out that rose or that water fountain because it's just all jumbled in with a lot of information. All you see is the Lego pieces. So you all have a lot of Lego pieces you're sitting on, and some of you may do that sorting well, but the magic happens. This is the key right here. The power happens when you are taking all the facts and the figures and the messages, and you're telling a story that your customers can connect to. So we really believe at Media Minefield that there's value to unlocking the power of your story. The people who encounter your business online need to be given information, the stories you want them to have, who you are, and what you stand for as a business. Or if you don't give them that information, they're going to fill in the blanks themselves. They're going to make up those stories themselves. And we know stories influence buying decisions. Think about your own buying habits. How often have you made a purchase or you supported a business because of a story that you heard or a review that you read? People want to surround themselves with and do business with people who they can connect with, and you are in that people business. This is especially critical for a very personal decision. It's often emotional in your business for people to buy or sell their home. When I moved to Minneapolis and I was looking for a home myself for my family, my dad, he connected me with a friend who was a realtor, and I could tell in the first half hour that we weren't a good fit. He didn't have kids. He didn't understand many of the features I was looking for in a home. And I went to another open house and I met another realtor who had 9 kids. I hired her on the spot. I knew we could relate to each other. How does this particular realtor tell her story? She is a realtor who understands families' needs. She talks about that. She shares about it on social media and thought leadership articles in interviews that she does. And she truly can. As a mother of 9 kids, she knows what families need in a home. So this is another part and an element that's key for you.
And it all begins at Media Minefield with understanding your message. So this is the practice that we do with each of our clients before we start pitching them to the press. We hold a message session and create what we call a message map. That's a document that highlights all of your key messages, which differentiates yourself from the competition. So we work to get those key messages into interviews. We want to make sure that you're being consistent with your messaging and that messaging is always on point. We've even heard from realtors who've used this messaging on their website. They hang it on their office wall and encourage their whole team to stay on that message when chatting with potential clients. So we have a video here. Be part of the solution is one of Maria Quattrone's key messages. So we had a chance to secure an interview with the ABC affiliate in Philadelphia. Take a look.
New here at 5:30, a scholarship program is hoping to give more minorities and women the keys to real estate in Philadelphia and the suburbs. Action News race and culture reporter Rhonda Thomas has a look now at how it could change careers and lives.
We're in Graduate Hospital area.
An area Maria Quattrone knows well. In fact, she knows all of Philadelphia well.
I've made millions and millions of dollars selling real estate.
Now it's time to share the wealth.
We wanted to launch a program where we could help others.
People like Daniela Cubillet.
Really, the opportunity itself, I feel, was God-given.
And Alexis Clement.
I saw what they were making and was very interested.
Ready to boost their careers by getting their real estate licenses.
The classes average around $500.
All for free.
A lot of people don't even know how to start. They don't know what it's like.
It's part of the 8-week Pennsylvania Real Estate Scholarship Program. It includes instruction, coaching, taking the real estate license exam, and sales training. Quattrone created it all specifically for women and minorities.
We want to take them out of the generational poverty and help them build generational wealth. She's helping us to mold and change our state of mind into one of a person, of a successful person.
As much as this is about opportunity at a local real estate office, it's also about changing the face of the real estate market because nationally, it's not very diverse.
75% are white men, 2% are Black men in leadership positions in real estate.
Our 6 ABC data team found much of the same when it comes to Philadelphia specifically. 74% of real estate brokers in the city are white, a number that's more than double that group's share of the population. Low diversity among appraisers nationwide has also raised questions about fair treatment in the housing market. Diversity is one way to change that.
If we have all different people from all different walks of life, we get diversity of thought.
Quattrone has already taken on 25 students and is looking for 75 more.
Do you currently own or rent your house?
Perfecting her pitch, Clement has already passed the test to get her real estate license.
It's going to change my family's life when I am able to become successful.
Beyond a career change, a life change.
It's about the everyday journey and helping and watching others grow.
In Graduate Hospital, Toronto Thomas, Channel 6 Action News.
So shortly after this story aired, she received about 200 phone calls about that scholarship program. It exposed the business, countless local families, and helped build brand recognition. Stories resonate with people, and if they're leveraged and unlocked strategically, they can lead directly to business leads. And by the way, those 200 calls, it came before it was posted on social media. It had another 10,000 views there, 194 likes and comments as well.
So let's shift now to the owned media section of that story circle. Reminder, this can be blogs, this can be thought leadership articles, this can be videos, strategic social media. So you are all experts in your industry. We know that. The goal is for you to showcase your expertise, educate, talk about the latest trends and your industry insights, differentiate yourself. Don't be afraid to share personal stories either as it relates to your business. People want to see authenticity. People want to work with people, not businesses.
Here's an example of a thought leadership article that was authored by Marcus, who's the owner of Palm Paradise. He wrote an article about employee retention efforts. He put together he calls it his university, where realtors can learn tools and techniques to be more successful. Within hours of that being published, a broker from Ohio called him. He's down in Florida, and the guy from Ohio gives him a call to consult with Marcus about setting up his own university. So that really is the essence of what thought leadership is about. And so that story it was featured in a media outlet, but had it not been, Marcus could have written an article sharing that exact content. He could have posted it on LinkedIn. He could have on his LinkedIn or his company's LinkedIn. Could have also put together a blog for the company's website and shared it on social media. Could have shared it in e-blast with newer potential clients. Right here, we have a picture of a vlog or a video blog. Our clients have also seen success with these. You basically do 1 to 2 minutes of sharing an idea or an industry insight, and you post it on social media. What we recommend is a nice graphic at the very beginning of it, which we can help put together. We put that together for clients. We also add closed captioning at the very bottom of it. That increases the number of views, as a lot of people will maybe scroll through their Facebook and they can actually read that and keep the volume off during the day. Again, the bottom line here is to differentiate yourself, one to stand out from the competition and showcase your expertise.
So if you're interested in learning more about how you can be featured in the press, or you can amplify your message through thought leadership and social media, we do look forward to speaking to your team in more detail about your specific market areas and goals. Here's the email address to contact our team. Tell your story at media-minefield.com. And remember, this is a market exclusive program, so we only work with one realtor, one agent in each market. If you're not sure of your market, which a lot of times, Barry, we hear is that folks aren't sure of their market, just email us the locations that are key for you, the counties that are key for you, and we can tell you which market area that you're in. So we do look forward to having conversations with all of you. I do have an updated list I'm going to put up here, Kiwi, and take some questions of the real estate markets that are full at this time. It's a little bit different list than I think you just put into the question, so I can update you, Kiwi, with that as well, so you can send it out to everybody.
Well, I don't know if, so first of all, I took 2 of the news articles that I had and actually Kiwi on my branded site, which is what Ylopo calls it. There's the site you search for homes, and then there's the pretty site. Well, I actually added a menu on my branded site that says in the news. And when you click on it on my branded site, both occurrences recently that I've been on the news are actually on that, on the website. But in the second time I was interviewed, they wanted to view a listing. They wanted to take, so I obviously picked one of our office's listings. And I don't know, reading between the lines, the reporter was talking to the cameraman. And the reporter said to me, first she said to me, who is Jess? Does Jess work for you? And I said, yes. And of course, Jess works at Media Minefield. And she said, you should give her a raise. And I said, okay, sure. And then the reporter looked at the cameraman, and I forgot the word she used, but it kind of sounded like Media Minefield did the assignment. Like, he did a blah, 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 blah. And I got the vibe that the reporter was like, whoa, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'm oversimplifying, and I'm obviously ignorant to the subject, but there's like a pitch that you guys do to the news for me. Is that right?
Yes. So I think that's the nice thing about it is we're broadcast journalists. So when we're talking to broadcast journalists, we know their language, right? We know how to write in the way that they're going to write. We know how to write in the way that they're going to ask the questions. And so the benefit for our clients, for you, is they follow our script. We give it to them, they follow it. They don't usually make a lot of changes to that. So that one, it helps you prep for your interview. You're not going in cold because we have those talking points that we've handed over to the anchor or the reporter. And a lot of times they say, oh, wow, you guys know how to write in broadcast news language, or you know how to write in journalism language. I'm not going to tweak that. This is solid. This is great to go. So that's what I think that reporter was alluding to is I didn't have to change anything. You gave me every element and every piece I needed for my interview and more, which we do that so that our clients are ready to go for the interviews, and two, that you have success in getting your message out there, what the message that you wanted to make sure that you were talking about.
Right. Yeah. It was really, and the neighbors for the house came out. They were wondering what's going on. And I took a bunch of ridiculous pictures of myself making that same face of my Zoom image, like next to the news van. I think it wasn't even the news. It was just me standing next to the news van saying I'm being interviewed. I think I had like 400 likes or something. It was ridiculous just because, people, they're like, wow, Barry, I didn't know that occurred. And so it's been honestly a real learning experience for me. And I guess after watching the presentation, I accidentally gave you guys some earned media, right? Like, because that's what this is, right?
Right.
Because you didn't ask webinar. I thought it would be really cool for our community to see it, because we've got about 11,000 people that are in the community and very active, and so I think a lot of people are like me. We're just ignorant to how it all works. And I've got a third one where they want to interview one of my buyers about their journey, and me about the market and how their journey, coincided and all that stuff. So it just seems like it's one of those things you just kind of, the first month, I think I had like a smaller thing and a blog article that I was put on. And then the second month I got a Zoom one. And then the third month I got in a listing, and now they're interviewing a buyer, and it's just like, and I'm just speaking to the audience for those that, haven't seen this before. It just seems like, just like when you're working with an investor client where you help them, they like you, they work with you again. It seems as though the news reporters, within reason, do kind of the same thing, because some of them have reached out afterwards, like, hey, Barry, what do you think about this? And that kind of thing. Would you say that sometimes happens too? Like the relationships start to form?
Yeah, completely, 100%. And that's what we want to happen. We want you to be the sought after expert when it comes to the local press. So that's part of the reason why we set you up and do coaching. Like, we role play, we do a mock interview before each interview so that you knock it out of the park on that interview number one, so that they're like, wow, this guy is really good. He's really solid, or woman is outstanding on the news. and, you know, like really relatable. That's the goal, right? Relatable. That's what we told you, Barry, right? Relatable. Like they have to like you, you know, the smiling through the interviews, showcasing your personality. It is one thing about what you say, but it's also how you say it and the presence of how you say it. All of that matters during the interview. And so our goal, and we help our clients with that and through the coaching program that we do before your interviews, because then we want them to ask you back. We want them to not think about any other realtor when it comes to news interviews. We want them to think about you. And so I'm glad to hear that that's already happening in your market.
Yeah. In Kiwi, they sent a video after. By the way, they're not paying me for this or anything. I just was excited about it. That's why I asked them to do it. But they sent like a report after one of the articles or one of the news things. It had like 100,000 views or something like that, just from the local news, which was just bananas to me that, you know, it would get that kind of reach. But yeah, it's really, really neat.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about is the publicity report, Barry, because one of the things that I hear often is, what is the ROI? So we have this publicity report that, and I didn't even know you were going to ask this, but I had this like slide like ready to go in case somebody asked about like, what is my return on my investment? Because that is one of the common questions I get from realtors is, what is my return on my investment? So I'll clearly say your return on your investment is you're building trust and establishing your credibility because you're the expert in the news, right? Like that's credibility we can't buy. It's like a third party stamp of approval that somebody else has like endorsed you and said, you know, I'm choosing Barry to be the person that I'm interviewing versus your competition or any other realtor. So that third party stamp of approval, that's something that you can't buy. However, if you want to look at numbers, this is where it's really nice, this publicity report, where you get it for each specific interview. So here's actually, this is our CEO, because we believe in this so much, we do press for ourselves. And this is her being interviewed on Fox in Chicago. So what it showcases is here is that at the top on the right-hand side, it says that estimated national audience. So that's how many eyeballs watched it at the time it aired. So, you know, about 33,000. And then the publicity value. So if she were to have paid for, if Media Minefield were to have paid for this time on the air, like a commercial or whatnot, what is that value? Well, that value estimates about $20,000. So, and that's without the value of how much credibility you get from being interviewed on and saying you've been interviewed on Fox Chicago. But it's nice for our clients to be able to get this. And this publicity value report is not something we make up. This is from a third party source that we subscribe to on behalf of our clients. I mean, everybody uses this. Even the White House uses this subscription service for publicity value. So it's something that it's a third party vendor who provides this after each interview, and we subscribe to it so our clients can have this firsthand.
That's really neat.
Yeah. I like the angle of, you know, what we do for our clients is generate a lot of leads, and a lot of our clients have a ton of buyer leads sitting in their database. But over the last 6 months, it's been very difficult to get those buyers' offers accepted because there's multiple offers. You know, the rates have gone crazy. Everything's just been bonkers. But what we're seeing now in a lot of these different markets is there's nowhere near as many offers on these properties. It's a lot less competitive. It's a lot easier to get offers accepted than it was several months ago. And I think, correct me, you know, if you think otherwise, Barry, but I think over the next few months, we're going to see things chill out a little bit, and there's going to be more inventory. We're starting to see it here in Vegas and other markets. I'm seeing the same thing. And people are going to be more receptive to, look, this is just the way rates are. They used to be much higher than what they are today anyway. You know, 10 years ago, people were, you know, 6s and 7s were normal, right? So a 5% rate isn't actually that bad. And there's still a lot of affordable housing out there, especially when people are moving from out of state. So going after the, hey, you know, going after all those buyers that have been on the sideline, just saying, I give up, it's too difficult, and really messaging them and saying, look, it's not so bad anymore. You know, look, and giving examples of how these first-time home buyers are actually getting offers accepted, I think is a really cool message to send out for our clients to send out to their market, because they're just sitting on a mountain of buyers, half of these guys.
Yeah.
So
and that's something we would take. Like,
yeah.
I
That's exactly what I was going to say, Barry. So that's part of what we do with our clients. I mean, obviously, we're not the real estate experts. We're the messaging experts and the journalists. So we help we have to have calls with our clients and hear things exactly like that. Kiwi, those ideas. And then we can say, you know what, like, that's a great idea. We think we really can get press for that. Sometimes we say, if we go about it this way to the news, we'll be able to get an idea. Like Barry alluded to, like we're showcasing one of his buyers, right? Like we sometimes have to give the media a more full package. Like we can't just say, hey, interview Barry. They're like, well, wait a minute, I want to talk to a buyer and seller too. Like, I really want to know that this is the truth of what you're saying. Like, you have to tell me somebody that's actually going through that. So a first-time home buyer, that would be a perfect story where we'd say, hey, let's work with the realtor. Let's also work with a first-time home buyer and give that reporter that full story that they could have.
Yeah, yeah. And just that video, all of our clients can repurpose this video as well. And they're, on their Ylopo branded sites, most clients have like a nice big video introduction at the top. You can easily edit in a couple of snippets from this just to add that social proof to the fact that you're a real estate agent. Look, I'm also on the news, blah, blah, blah. I think that just gives you a lot more credibility the second they hit your site.
Mate, I'm gonna have to talk to you about that, Mike.
Yeah, we just edit it in. It's easy.
Well, great. I see a couple of questions in the chat that I thought maybe I should answer, Barry and Kiwi. So thank you for asking that. I'm glad, Michael, that you see possibilities with this. I think it's great. The one thing about it is, even if, Barry had an interview a couple of months ago, he can still be posting it on social media if the content is still relevant. If it had to do with market insights from 2 months ago, obviously you can't, but if it's how something that's still, it's evergreen, we can still be talking about it. One of the questions that was asked was the cost of this. So it really is market specific for cost. And the reason why I say that is each market looks a little bit different. I cannot tell you that a New York City market is going to look exactly like a Lincoln, Nebraska market. And I talked to Kiwi a little bit about this. Like, it's different for real estate agents wherever they're working. And so we know also the appetite of the news media, because we work in the markets all over the country and other industries. So we know the appetite of the market in your local area. So as much as I want to give you a specific price for every market today, I can't do that. But I can give you a range and tell you that it's, between $1,700 to $2,400 for our earned media press program only. And then if you want to add thought leadership videos or blogs and that type of thing to it, then that could add another $1,000 to your price per month.
Yeah, I actually hired you guys to help me with my book as well, with a press release and some other things. And you guys had me on. That's what's cool about it, is I can just say, all right, here's some things that I think are important to me, and then you guys go to work and you get it done. So yeah, it's really great.
I also like the fact that if you've got a bad idea, you guys are or not a bad idea, but it's an idea that you think, look, this isn't going to fly. It's just, they're very honest about that. They're not just going to take your money and then try and make things work. I mean, give you an example. I wanted to use them for Ylopo, right? I wanted to get some national coverage, blah, blah, blah. But look, we're a B2B tech company. Our audience is just real estate agents. They go out to all the consumers, the homeowners. It's a different market, right? So it doesn't make sense for us. So like, Kiwi, we like where your head's at, but it's not going to work. And here's the reasons why. And I'm like, great. Thank you for being so honest. So I like the fact that they're very thoughtful and they're not going to do something unless they feel like it's going to work really, really well for you.
Right. Because a lot of what you were looking at was they require pay to play. They require us to pay them for you to be in the news media. And we're really in the business of earned. So we're not paying journalists for you to be on. So that's where we knew where your audience was, and we knew that it wasn't the best fit for you. And you're right. We take that very seriously, and looking at each client, looking at each market area, and telling you your personal plan.
We also do, we also do a guarantee of this is how many placements, this is how many interviews you're going to get in every 4 month period. And so, and if we don't meet that guarantee, we work for free until we do. So we have a really good knowledge of what these markets are and what we can do. And we're very upfront with that. We meet what we say we're going to do.
Yeah. And actually it's funny too, that, cause month one, I was like, well, it was okay, but it really wasn't great. And then like 2 weeks into month two, I was like, they said, can you meet Wavy TV 10 NBC outlet at 3 o'clock at your office? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is working. It was really a really cool experience. And so there's a bunch of people that are asking how to get more information.
Yep. Yes. So they can email me at the email that Kiwi just put up, Andrea@media-minefield.com, or they can email tellyourstory@media-minefield.com. Either one will get to us, and Alex and I will respond. We'll set up a meeting. We'll look at your specific market area, and we'll come up with a plan of what that's going to look like and the guaranteed number of placements for that particular market.
Yeah, and Kiwi, now that I'm thinking about it, man, because they send me the high resolution Vimeo links after the interviews are over. Like that could totally be a branded Diva video that you guys chop up and run advertisements with that, right?
Yeah.
For like recruiting.
Yep, for sure. All you got to do is just, if you do end up doing stuff with Media Minefield, just share the content with me, and we'll figure out ways to get it in front of your audience. And yeah, definitely I would say putting it onto your branded site as part of the background image or video would be a nice one. Certainly adding a tab where they can see where all the different things you've done on the media. And then, yeah, Diva videos and other things on top of that. There's a lot of case study, a lot of mileage I think we can get out of these that will handle it all for you. You just need to get it, basically, get in front of the camera and make it happen.
All right, well then that's phase 2. I'll send you my videos from the recent ones I've done, and part of our community, Andrea and Alex, is that we're very collaborative in nature, and so Ylopo hired me 6 years ago to be their subject matter expert for their customers, and so I run a real estate office, but I also work for Ylopo, and so then when I have an idea, right, then I go down these rabbit holes with their team and we come up with stuff. So this would be another example, like, oh, okay, we have a product called Diva where we run these videos. So anyway, that'll be maybe another webinar some other time, Kiwi. Any other questions that anybody has, or are we good to go?
I think we're good. We're under time.
Yeah.
This is a record. I like it. Short and sweet.
Well, they were organized. Why?
Yeah.
If they're not organized, then it takes a lot longer. So this was really, thank you for talking to our community and sharing. And did you check the Facebook? Were there any comments on there, the Facebook Live? Or questions rather, not comments. I saw the comments.
Let me just double check. It's a good point. Sometimes people throw them in there. But yeah, we will also be putting the recording up after this. No, there's no comments in there on ylopo.com/media. And then it's also recorded live into the community when it'll sit in there as well.
Great.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate the opportunity, Kiwi.
Yes. No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thanks.
Have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.